podcast. The Breakdown by yours truly, 00HOCWWID. Alright, let's get this one started. So where to start off? I'm going to start off, the teen years, everyone formulating in groups, and you're having to find your comfort and everything, find your people that you click with, so you feel accepted and getting that validation that was lacked, during the other portion of your development stages. You're in teen years. And the thing is now, I don't know anything of this, but from what I have observed, a lot of, because, there's a portion of people that had a rough school life, and there's a portion that had a good school life. But what I am seeing is, like, with the structure of school, say if we knew our purpose to begin with, school would be like one of the best areas to you can get a lot done when it comes to the concept of people. But the thing is, since we didn't get the proper teaching with our individual path and stuff, because if you think about it, school is just one big giant cesspool. But the thing is we're taught to be derailed from our individuality. So we're constantly having to derail from our passions, our comfort, our stuff that gives us drive in life. And, we got to derail from a lot of that stuff because we were too busy having to comfort others so that we can fit the image that we are normal, But the thing is we were derailed from our individual path for so long that we couldn't take advantage of the whole concept of what school really is. School is basically if we were all familiar with our individual path and we were in high school, that would be a big game changer, for finding permanence in, your younger years, because everyone would have been taught, about their individual path and, finding their own identity. We could have found our tribe of people that is for our individual path right then and there in that big old cesspool. But since we are derailed from our individuality and derailed from our creativity and, just derailed from anything having to do with any individual purpose whatsoever, it was a chaotic mess. You had your section of people that had a horrible school life, and you had your section of people that had a good school life. But the thing about it is finding acceptance and whatnot, it differentiates for every person, because it's more like, how far are you willing to go with losing your individual purpose to be accepted in high school, Because, I'm not even talking about middle school or elementary school, because those are big segments of developing. Your teen years, that's a crucial segment too. But the thing is what you got to do is, even though our brain doesn't stop developing until, like 25 and all that other stuff, but the thing is you got to look at it from the man-made life. You're about to be going into adulthood. You're about to be dropped off. You're about to hit the cliff of the mountain. As soon as you graduate, you're going to go free falling down the mountainside. You're on your own, you know. And so yeah, the whole concept of school could have been a complete game changer if we all were just taught about the importance of individuality and, you know, our creativity and whatnot, because that could have been the big game changer. But however, the breakdown though is what I want to get into, so which I'm slowly getting into it now. Let's say once you finish high school or whatnot, now this is where, you know, it's all up to you. What are you going to do from here? You're going to get a job, you're going to go to school, you know, it's all up to you. Now what you do in this time frame is very important, because since, you know, high school was a dysfunctional mess, you know, now you're falling off the cliffside of the mountain. You know, you're free falling into, you know, reality, the reality that we were not taught. You know, we were taught an illusion of what reality was, because, you know, so much brainwashing that goes on in the school. You know, our concept of reality and what to expect is completely warped, you know. But the thing is when, you know, we get into reality, we see that we have developed so much fear and so much anxiety on a world. It's just crippled. That's just crippled. Every single person is in fear. Every single person has anxiety. Every single person has paranoia, you know. Everyone is frail. That's what you learn. But the thing is, you're not taught that. You know, in school, you know, the predicament, and, you know, if you had a good high school life, guess what you're expecting when you go into reality? You're expecting a tremendous adulthood now, because all you and your high school buddies are going to dominate in adulthood. That's what you're thinking. That's what you're thinking. And for the people that were crippled in high school, who had a horrible high school life, you know, they're going into reality thinking, oh man, the bullies are going to be from a variety of different ages now, and blah 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 blah, and now it's just going to be, you know, it's going to be a living hell. That's what you're thinking. But then when you get dropped off, let's get to the concept of the reality. They don't care how awesome your high school life was. They don't care how bad your high school life was. They don't care. They don't care. But the thing is you, in your mind, you think they care because you've been brainwashed in school. So your concept and visual on reality is just completely warped. Now, the sad thing is, a lot of people continue to live with this warped visual, and they will continue to live that way. That's the majority of population, and they get all this discomfort, blah 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 blah, you know. And they find, you know, ways to deal with that discomfort, to normalize it, because, you know, continuing to have a warped vision on your reality, and, you know, you're constantly aging, but you're still having that same mindset, the discomfort is only going to increase, and it's going to continue to increase, you know, until you meet a breaking point. And that could be, you know, when you wake up, or when you get to old age and your brain's just tired of being in total discomfort. Your brain just gives out, and because there was a reading that said, like, if our brains had legs and it could walk, our brains would have left our body, like, in our developing stages as a child, because we had to endure so much discomfort to be conditioned. So let's get into this. So now, you're in the reality. Now the thing is, number one, the most important thing that has been neglected in the majority is the emotional intelligence. Emotions were our emotional development. It sucked. Everyone's emotional development sucked in their developing stages. Raised a society that lacked zero empathy. They have zero empathy, or low empathy. And so this is going to make it a lot harder to, find, compassion, because of the lack of emotional intelligence that the majority have. So let's say, that, you're trying to find some emotional comfort, some emotional comfort. Now, I'm going to tell you this ahead of time. Well, that's going to be too fast forwarding. So let's not do that. But so let's say, you're trying to find emotional comfort because, you just dropped off the mountainside. You're brought into reality. You're dealing with all the stress of adapting to a world that, holy crap, this is not what I was expecting. This is not what I was expecting, because you went into the mind thinking the trilogy of high school was going to continue. Nope, not at all. So now this will put your mind in complete and total shock. Oh, complete and total shock. So the thing is you're trying to find placement. You're trying to find placement. And the thing about finding placement is we don't know where anything is placed. In high school, everything was categorized. Everyone had cliques, groups. Everyone had certain tables. Everyone had certain clubs. In the reality, and with a delusional mind that's warped from the conditioning that the school system provided, you cannot find placement anywhere, because you're in the real world. You're on your own. Can't find placement anywhere. There's a reason for it. Because you're free to do whatever you want. You see, we're conditioned to go away from our individuality and our individual purpose. We're conditioned to go away from that and to, find placement and find our value within that placement and just progress from there. But once you graduate high school, you realize you were taught wrong. Because when you get to the real world, your placement is nowhere. All that hard work that you put into what you believe was your individual purpose and whatnot, that you were taught, that you were sculpted into believing, meaningless. Wasted time. Wasted time. Wasted time. All they did in school was just test your memory, But the thing is what had more depth? Training of your memory or the experience in living through it? Of course, the experience in living through it. That's what's going to make the most detrimental impact, you know? The thing is, you're in reality. You're trying to find your placement. You know, your mind is in complete and total shock, you know? So you just go with the flow, you know? You know, you try to get into college maybe, and you know, some people fight through that discomfort because college is completely different. It's completely different. It cannot be compared to high school whatsoever. It's completely different. And you know, you can either adapt with certain placements in college, but the thing is there really is no placement in college. Now, I will tell you though, some of these, I don't know anything about the universities, but they seem to have their own world. I don't know nothing about that. But I know about tech schools. And the thing is, when it comes to, you know, tech schools, there is no placement. Everyone is scattered doing their own thing. I don't know about the university. Maybe it's the same thing. Unless you probably get caught up in one of those sororities or fraternities. And then it's probably a completely different game changer. But then again, I'm speaking on something that I really don't know when it comes to the aspect of university. But I know my experience when I was in tech school, everything was scattered. Everyone was doing their own thing. I was lost. I was lost the whole time. I would go to class and then I was lost. I was completely lost, trying to find my placement. You know, there was no placement. It was all unorganized because reality cannot be organized. So, you know, my mind was in shock. I already had like tons of mental problems and whatnot. So, you know, eventually it gets to a point to where I'm going to drop out. I can't deal with this. And that's what a lot of people do. They drop out. It's too much. Their mind's in shock. Everything that they thought was reality ended up being a lie, you know? But there are people who stomach through that discomfort and they just fight it. They go against the grain. But the thing is, the reason of why you're going to school might not even be your individual purpose. For example, when I went to school, it was for computers and programming. My whole developing stages of childhood, I was always on the computer. So I was always told the computer is your passion because that's all you do. You love computers. But the thing is, later on, you know, doing all these computer classes and whatnot, I had a reality check. I reality checked myself. And I was like, sitting there, if computers are escape from the reality that I hate and my life that I hate, what if I get stressed at work? What is going to be my escape if my job is my escape? And I just dropped out. I didn't know what my purpose was. But I acknowledged that I used computers for escaping a reality that I hated, for escaping a life that I hated, you know? And honestly, I'm glad I made that decision. I'm so glad I dropped out. Because if I continue to pursue a career in computers, I would have ended up being miserable. Because all I would be doing is sitting down, looking at a screen for more years to come. Because you got to think, I did it all in my development stage, just sitting down, escaping, playing video games on a computer all my childhood life. Why in the world would I do that all my adult life? You know? Meaningless. And it's unnecessary discomfort. And there's people that, you know, continue to go against that discomfort, go against the grain, and they just pursue that whatever they went into college for because they were told this is their purpose, or maybe they felt at the time that this is their purpose. But the thing is our minds, after we get out of school, it's warped. It's distorted. It's distorted. We're not thinking how we need to be thinking in the world of reality. We are thinking on a scale of the limitations and boundaries that the school system taught us. When you get into the real world, there is no limitations and there is no boundaries. You can do whatever the heck you want. So our mind can't even fathom when we go into reality and realize there is no limitations. There is no boundaries. I can literally do anything. Anything. Our minds can't comprehend that. So we go to college thinking with the limitations and the boundaries that, that we got from the school system. So, and I remember, I remember taking like some kind of test where, to see what college major or something fits you. And like, you take the test and it tells you, what to pursue and stuff like that. And so, you know what? I bet you $1 million. So many of those people that took those tests in high school trying to find what major they need to take when they get out of high school and all that stuff. Bet you $1 million. A lot of them did it. And you know what? They either went against the grain of discomfort and they battled it through and graduated, or they're in the portion where they're constantly changing majors. Can you imagine? Constantly changing your majors over and over and over and over because you don't know where you belong. You don't know what major you belong to, because every major that you keep going into, you keep getting hit with nothing but total discomfort and a lack of enjoyment. So yeah, total shock. But the ones that dropped out and just went to go get a job, they're looking at their sanity. And let me tell you, going from the school system, or maybe you were homeschooled, which that's even more warped. I don't know anything about being homeschooled, but I tell you this, going from homeschool to college, that don't sound very good. That don't sound very pleasant at all, because you're talking about the limitations and confinement of your own dang home. Like the school system at elementary school, middle school, high school. But if you were homeschooled, elementary, middle school, high school is all in the same home. Smaller confinement, smaller boundaries, smaller limitations. But the ones that, dropped out, just went to go get a job and just make ends, they were looking at their sanity. But the thing is the majority just settle. They don't look more in depth of what's wrong and what they need to fix mentally. They just go get the job, make friends in the job, and they just keep working. A lot of them don't question what's wrong with me. Because a lot of people that just dropped out just went to work, or maybe they didn't even go to college, they just went straight to work. But a lot of people use their job as an escape from a reality that is so uncomfortable. And then, you know, they need something to escape from work because, eventually you put in so many hours, so many hours into work, and it just gets so tedious, it gets so redundant, it gets so repetitive that, you just get a cycle of numbness, and so when you come out into reality, say you get off work, you feel like you have no purpose. You feel like your purpose is only your job. You feel numb. You feel vacant. That's where all that neglect of your mental health starts catching up. That's when, you know, escaping comes in. Bars, you know, getting drunk, getting high, just to deal with the aftermath of all the corruption that you endured. Maybe a select few go get a therapist and stuff, go to a facility like I did, and they work with it, try to find understanding. But the thing is, one thing I'm going to tell you this: a lot of people that, a lot of people that have question on that, they don't know how to even get into it. I was lucky enough where I'm already familiar with facilities and stuff, because I was in it in my teen years. So I'm already familiar with all that stuff. But you're talking about people, a lot of people, they didn't go that route. But the thing is everyone is affected from their developing stages. Everyone is affected. So, when they say, well, maybe I need a therapist, maybe I need this, that, and the other, and they go to a place that's charging them an arm and a leg to even get help because they don't know nothing about the system. They don't know nothing about the system. Everywhere there is affordable. It don't matter where you are in life. There are facilities that they won't even take a dime from you. But the thing is those are not advertised. They want you to think mental health and all that stuff is expensive, so you don't do it. But the thing is say, calculate all those bar tabs, calculate all that money that you put into drugs, calculate all that. Man, that stuff would probably still end up equaling out the same or more. The thing is, now let's get down into the breakdown even further. Because eventually, with the aging process, and all that stuff, you don't went through all the turmoil, but you are enduring, okay? You are enduring. Now, when you start getting involved into escaping and all that stuff, that's where you start to find placement again. Oh, you're familiar with this, all right? You're familiar with placement. Yeah, this is where placement comes in hand. Because that's what we were taught in high school, So you're starting to find your placement, what bar you go to, and you only go to that one bar, or maybe you go to a couple, maybe, I don't know. Maybe you have a few that you attend, but you dang well that you don't go to every single bar. Because what you're doing is you're trying to find your placement. Because now you think that I found understanding. I found placement. So, this probably makes you feel a whole lot better. Being surrounded by people that are just looking for placement as well. So, you start to, familiarize yourself with them and whatnot. But the thing is, what you don't understand is that this is all trauma bonding. It's all trauma bonding. It's all trauma bonding. And trauma bonding don't get you nowhere. Trauma bonding keeps the toxicity in your life. But the thing is the more you can relate to these people, guess what? There are differences that you can't relate to. And that's the salt and pepper that's on that toxicity that is just surrounding you. You know, just more turmoil to be added. You know, so, you found your placement. You know, instead of looking at into hobbies and activities, you were looking for placement. And when you look for placement, all you do is find a way to be stagnant, a way to be not mobile. You get off work, you go to the bar, you go to your placement. Because outside of that placement, and when you left work, you felt numb. You felt valueless. You felt that your only value is working. That's your only value. So once you find that placement, that is your escape from that feeling. Comfort. There's people that go to the bars like every single day, and they go to the same bar every day. Go to the same bar every day. They see the same faces, and they just familiarize themselves with just people that are, escaping. Now, if you were to get into a hobby or an activity or maybe like a gym membership, it could have been a complete game changer. But the thing is what that is looked at as, especially if you're already living the life of an addict, that just looks like work. That looks like work because you're not escaping. You're actually existing. You're actually living a life with purpose. And that's something that's very abnormal to someone whose fun times are escaping. There's this one thing that goes in my head all the time, and I never speak on it or anything, but like when I go downtown, and say I see someone who is just drunk out of their mind. I mean, staggering, or maybe someone passed out. I've seen that too. Someone passed out, I mean, passed out from all the alcohol that they took or whatever drugs they consumed, whatever, and, sometimes like in my mind internally, I'll just look at them and, I'll just be like, wow, they're having such a fun time. I'm glad they're having a fun time. Because in their mind, they're having fun. But, they're really not having fun. It's like sarcasm in my mind. They're just having a blast. When really they're not. You see, that placement, that placement. It looks fun from the visual of the user and other users. But when you're the sober one looking in, you see it for what it is. Let me tell you this. I've had conversations with people where, I thought I understood their sense of humor and stuff. Let me tell you, you don't understand their sense of humor. Because I remember there was times where I spoke to people sober, like when they were sober. And, I tried keeping that same sense of humor around. They don't like that sense of humor. But yet, when they're intoxicated, drunk, high, or on whatever, the sense of humor just gets stupider and stupider and stupider. It's because they're constantly diminishing themselves. They're diminishing their capability. But if you tried to talk the same stuff that they were talking to you when they were, on stuff, they don't want to have that type of talk. They don't want to talk. They don't want to have that conversation. They don't want to talk about stuff like that. But it's like, you talked my ear off about that stuff yesterday. And then, guess what? They don't even remember. Or if they do remember, well, yeah, but that was just in that moment. I don't feel like talking about that stuff now because they're sober. They don't want to speak about it. They have to be at a level of intoxication to even have such a conversation. Now, let's break this down even more. When it comes to the placement, this is where more things continue to get warped. Concept of love, affection, emotions, all that stuff. It gets warped because you're talking to a population of, people just diminishing themselves. So what do you think they're settling for? Diminished company, diminished emotions, diminished compassion. Everything is diminished. Everything is cheaper. If you know what I mean. Everything is cheaper. For example, say, you have interest in someone. You've been living a diminishing lifestyle for a while. Say you have interest in someone. It don't take you long to have sex with them. It don't take you long at all. You know why? Because they're living a diminished life. They're living a life of placement in adulthood. And that placement in adulthood I'm referring to is of the majority when it comes to escaping. Because no one wants placement when it comes to their career. Because when you leave your career, just like I said, when you leave your job, that's where you start to feel valueless. You feel numb. So we're only talking about the escape part of all that numb and value, that the lack of value and your lack of purpose. We're talking about it from that point forward. So we're talking about escaping that portion. Nothing to do with careers and none of that other stuff. So get that stuff out of your mind. Now, but the thing is it all comes easier. You can get sex very easy. You can get all that stuff very easy. They even have parties, orgies, all that stuff. They have all that stuff. Because the thing is when you have been dabbling with, diminished company, and, you've been having sex for so long, it gets repetitive and redundant to where it just starts feeling empty. And let me tell you, empty sex is something that I do not recommend. I do not recommend, because once you have met that point, that's where you become very, very miserable. Your aggression, anger, hostility, it all starts to come forth. And the way you start treating people, it comes out very, very bad, very negative. Because you're an empty vessel. Sure, it's all fun at first. But then you got to try new. And that's when the category of all that stuff, comes into play. It starts getting more crazy. Parties. They got parties where people just hook up. They got, other things like, BDSM, all that stuff. Just to add more excitement on that diminished life. The thing is everything still comes easy, but the thing is now there's a variety to pick from. And for some reason, when people see that there is a variety to pick from, they think this is good. But okay, so what happens if you try literally all the varieties that are there? Guess what? You become unsatisfied. Oh, you become unsatisfied. Oh. But yet, when you look into it and, you take out, the substance and all that stuff that you love and, all the sex, because believe it or not, in that lifestyle, sex is actually becoming a substance. It's becoming a substance. And when you're using sex in that form, well, it's like an addiction. It spirals. Starts off very good, but then it gets to a point to where it's empty, where it is empty. And the thing is, there's a lot of people that don't even look at it as empty, but let me tell you this. How many times talking to someone and they have to drink to even... So, yeah, you talk about it. Yeah, so you want to hook up, blah, blah, blah. Well, let me get a couple drinks in my system and stuff. And, they're having to drink themselves to accept what is about to go down. People don't want to look at that, but it's true. They're not doing this stuff soberly. They're not doing this stuff soberly. Because I remember, geez Louise, I remember where I was kind of lost. I was lost. And, but the thing is any time that, I tried to find interest. Now, this was in the very beginning time frame of when, I started going downtown. It's a very, very, very short time frame. And, any time that I found interest in someone or anything, the thing is since it wasn't fast to obtain with me, because, I don't look at that as something as fast, I look at it as like something that comes with time, You can't just meet someone and then, just hook up soberly like that, Unless they've been in the game for a while, unless they've been in that lifestyle for a while and they've just gone numb to it. Well, that's when it starts to come out being addiction, because you're able to just do it anytime, anywhere, no matter what you're doing. But the thing is a lot of people that are in the downtown area, they're still working up to that. They're working up to that, what's it called? Where you, let's say you take where they just go, where it doesn't have any effect. They're trying to get to the point to where it doesn't have any effect, So that way they don't need as much alcohol to partake, because, well, now they have another thing to depend on, But still, that doesn't mean that there's nothing else involved to get them in the mind state to accept it. But okay, I'm getting too much into this stuff. So you got a whole understanding of that field, okay? Or did I even finish? Oh, yeah, I probably didn't. But yeah, I remember when there were people that I might have found interest in or whatnot, or tried to talk to and whatnot. But the thing is, since it wasn't so quick to obtain with them, they lost interest very, very quick. They lost interest very, very quick. Because going down there and, living that fast-paced life. Oh, and the matter of fact, when they saw me drinking water, that was another game changer. That was a whole nother game changer right there in itself. Because I remember there were people that, say someone wanted to keep me company, and they saw that all I did was drink water. Well, guess what? They tried to combat that, and they got water too. They tried to hang with me. But the thing is they are already addicted to that lifestyle of escape. I'm in a lifestyle of existing, and when I was there, it was during like karaoke. So, anytime that someone tried to keep company with me, they would try to mimic. But the thing is it wouldn't last long. It wouldn't last long. The thing is I was fine with them drinking. I didn't care. It was them that cared. They cared about my approval. They cared that they thought that I was like judging them or something. But it's like, what? I'm here in the same dang place with you. Like, what type of judgment would I be laying on you if I'm here? Like, you know what I mean? But because all I did was just sing my heart out. That was it. But the thing is yeah, that's just a portion though. Now let's get into the people that don't live that life of escaping, and they just live to exist. You know, they live to exist, find purpose. Well, number one, I'm going to tell you this straight up. One thing with, you know, your transition, there was a depth that you took in till you came to realization, this life ain't for me. How deep you go, I don't know. Every individual is different. Some go deeper than others. Some go in the deep, dark crevices. Some go in the, I like to call it the depths of hell. They go into the depths of hell. How far are you willing to go? There's some people that go far, far, far into it, you know. Now, one thing I will tell you, you know, I got deep, but I didn't get deep, deep, deep as some other people, you know. One thing that I've gathered is that, you know, well, number one, the definition of, you know, love and all that stuff, affection and all that stuff, it's all twisted in the depths. It's all twisted. It's all twisted. So what you believe love is, that's not really love. That's not really love. Like if someone has to get high, drunk, or they have to be on something to be in your company to keep up with you, that's not love. That's not love. You are an enabler for even, you know, allowing them to continue to do that. Like you need to cut that person off, or you need to set some healthy boundaries so they don't drink themselves to death or overdose on something because they're trying to you know, company you, you know. Now there are some people that don't care. They don't care. They don't care. And, you know, but the thing is it takes time for, you know, that sense of care in those type of environments to realize this is wrong. This is wrong. But you know, in the depths, love, affection, and all that stuff, it's warped. You know. Now, if you are, you know, participating in sex and all that stuff, well, you're probably already engulfed. You're engulfed into far deeper crevices. You're going far deeper crevices. You know. You're going down far deeper crevices. And that's stuff that, you know, I've heard from, you know, sex addicts and stuff about, you know, how that lifestyle is. And it's unappealing, but the thing is I can't speak from that standpoint. I don't know. That doesn't appeal to me. Never has appealed to me. Because if anything, it has always scared me. And I was always scared of, you know, AIDS, HIV. I was always horrified of that stuff, you know. And I remember, you know, an article I read about this woman, like she gave AIDS to like 300 something people. She was just sleeping with like anyone just to spread it. And, you know, stories like that just scare the heck out of me. And, you know, also unplanned pregnancies scare the heck out of me too. That scares the heck out of me too. So I had a lot of fear keeping me from even dabbling in that stuff, like a lot, you know. But some people, you know, they go in, and those people think love is sex. That's what they think it is. They think a relationship is all supposed to be surrounded by sex. The foundation of the relationship, F who you are, F who I am, it has to be about how good you are at sex and how experienced you are. That's love. There's a lot of people who develop the concept of their relationship for 90% of it to be around sex. That's the only thing holding them together. But the thing is usually those end up making broken homes. broken homes, unstable children, emotional neglect to high heaven. Because look at the percentage reel of y'all's relationship. That's what you founded your relationship on? Something so simplistic? No wonder. No wonder you guys don't like each other's company no more. You're bored. But anyway. So yeah, if you've already dug into the sexual play and stuff, that's a even farther one to go down. That's a rabbit hole I don't want to be familiar with. I don't know how to speak on it, but I could tell you this: it gets darker and 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 darker until you manage to get out of it. But every sex addict that I have met, it is hard. That is a hard addiction to break. And I have my own concept on why that is. The reason why a sex addiction is so hard to break is because it's warped. Getting involved in that type of escape, you're turning sex into something that is normal and natural. And when you start to use it as an escape, you're using it as a drug. But we're talking about something that comes natural, something that is normal, something that is supposed to be healthy. But the thing is if you are using it as a drug and a form of escape, and you're only doing it for fulfillment and selfish pleasure, you're using it as a drug. And the thing is, can you imagine sobriety with that? And even partaking in some kind of sexual play can just get you into temptation to relapse. Man, that's scary. That's corrupt. But you did it to yourself. You got involved in some activities that you shouldn't have gotten involved in, and those activities led to other activities. You're warped. Like, it gets darker and darker and darker and darker and darker. But I don't know how to speak on it. But just take it from me. And if you want, you can go to one of those SA groups. Like, literally, they let anyone in these groups. They let anyone in. You could go hear their stories. If you want to find familiarity or find some type of understanding with that form of suffering. But I mean, the way I just broke it down, geez, that is a battle. That is a battle. But if you did not dwell into those depths, some people, eventually they end up, because, what it is, they're just not, they don't know how to maneuver anything well. They don't know how to find the emotional comfort and whatnot that you can obtain. But the thing is emotional comfort it's warped as well. And the concept of love. And I'm talking about the concept of love in a warped visual, not as in the sex visual. Now, the sex visual of love, that is a high majority thing. And that's something that everyone can partake in. Now, I'm talking about, another concept of love that is there, but it's very, very twisted. It's very, very warped. And I'll get into that in a minute. But so for the people that don't know how to maneuver, those environments very well, they continue to feel misplaced. They continue to feel, not as accepted, It's because everyone is, drinking, doing their own thing. You got to fit in with the placement to be involved in that stuff. And what they're doing is they're not maneuvering anything correctly. They're not using who they are to the environment of a variety of different environments that are in that, placement, placement as in downtown in general. They're not utilizing, because the thing is, the majority and stuff are going to be accepting of this, that, and the other. But then you're going to find people that are different as well. So there's differences with all these people that are escaping. Like they all cannot fall in one big cluster and say, these people are all the same. No, they're not all the same. Don't get it twisted. They are not all the same. Every single group of people that is down there move completely different. The thing is you, the individual, that doesn't get involved in any of that stuff. You got to maneuver yourself with the flow. If you don't know how to go with the flow of suffering, well, my friend, you are in the wrong area. These people usually end up leaving. These are the people that say, yeah, I did it for a couple months and I just didn't like it. They couldn't find their placement because, they just couldn't find their placement. But it's all about going with the flow. It's all about going with the flow of suffering. And let me tell you, a lot of people that don't partake in any of that stuff, they don't know how to ride the wave of suffering. They don't know how to ride it. See, someone like me, I have, experience in facilities and stuff, so I fit right in. I don't got to partake in none of that stuff. I fit right in because it is literally like walking into a dang hospital. Literally, everyone escaping, everyone belligerent, everyone this, that, and the other, It's the same people that have the same amount of suffering as me, But some people don't know how to maneuver and ride the wave of suffering, so they eventually just branch out, and I don't know what they do. I don't know what those type of people do. Maybe they become reclusive. Maybe they go back to playing video games and whatnot. I don't know. But basically what they do is they say, yeah, I went through that phase. It didn't last very long because, it just wasn't fun. It wasn't this, that, and the other. Blah, 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 blah. And, to be honest, with these people leaving, then maybe they make healthy choices too. Maybe they go to a gym. Maybe they, they get something done. But, I'm looking at it from a standpoint of that numbness and, lack of value and lack of purpose when you leave work. What are they going to use as an escape? Now, I will tell you this. I do know a lot of adults play freaking video games, like really, really, really bad. Like, I mean, that's a drug in itself. You go downtown, guess what? There's a freaking bar, and believe it or not, it's not just downtown in this area. It's downtown in all kinds of different states. Some of them have very fancy ones, but they literally have bars with video game systems and computers and online gameplay. Man, that's a drug in itself. And now they're putting those things downtown too, to get those people down there so they can join the cesspool of hell, if you will. Those depths. Because everyone's escaping at the end of the day. Everyone is escaping a life that they hate. That is what makes everyone equal in that area. Everyone is escaping a life that they hate. Because if they weren't escaping a life that they didn't hate, they wouldn't need any dependence on any of the substance, sex, and all that other stuff. No, they're escaping a life that they hate. Now, let's get in. So this, the one that couldn't find his placement or whatever, they leave, usually branch out, they go elsewhere, maybe they find hobbies or something. Maybe down doing that stuff didn't work, so they go to Google. What other things can you do if downtown does not work for you? And they probably found a big list. They got started partaking in those things. They're ahead of the game. Because to be honest, when I meet people like that, I say, well, guess what? You did not miss out on anything. You did not miss out on anything. Because they didn't. Because all it is all that whole area is escaping and finding what escape suits you. But the thing is, the majority lack confidence already, so And they don't want, because if their escape is something completely different from everyone else, well, they're not going to up and speak about it. They're not going to up and speak about it because it's too different. They're trying to find placement, not displacement. But the thing is if you get displaced from one area, well, guess what? You can go find placement elsewhere. But stay true to you and speak up. But the thing is, so we're getting on that twisted form of the twisted form of love. Now, the people that don't escape, they don't use that stuff. Blah 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 blah. Now, for example, it could get to a point. Now, I've seen this too, where I've seen just they obviously maybe have a good job, so like they really think that these people at the bar are their friends, and since they don't drink, drinks on them. Oh, these are my friends. Yeah, these are my friends. No, I don't drink. I'm just buying. Yeah, these are my friends. Yeah. Maybe they get one of those tall fountain thingies, and it's like $10, and like just let everyone come get some or something like that. These people, they get used. They get used hard. I mean, they really think that these people are their friends, and like the whole time, I remember when I saw this, I was just like shaking my head. I'm like, oh man, no. Because the funny thing is, when I started being very new to it, and I remember I spoke to one of my friends, and I'm like, well, I don't drink, and sometimes they have sale on like, those things that I just explained. It's like this big old tower, and like you can just, it's like a big tower, and like sometimes they would have those at like $5, and I was like, well, I remember telling my friend, like, yeah, I was thinking about like maybe one time if they do those sale things, I can just buy one and just let anyone get a drink. And my friend, he literally stopped me. He said, dude, no, don't do that. He's like, that's a bad idea. And I was like, why? And he explained it to me. And literally, not far after that conversation, that was happening. Someone did that. And they really think that those people are their friends. They're not. They're not your friends. You're just supplying them with what they need to escape. And now they can get more of it. But the thing is, it's coming out of your pocket, not theirs. Now, there's also the people, who have befriended these people that are prone to escaping. And, they really enjoy the company of them. But the thing is, and so they hang around. They don't really do much. They're just there being with them and their friends. Their friends are all escaping and drinking and whatnot, doing whatever. And the thing is what they think is that, these people are, they're friends. They're my friends, And, like they may have their arm around you and just talking all this stuff to you. And, you're included in the conversation too, but you're not escaping it. You're there in the moment, And the thing is these type of relationships, it's company without meaning. Like, you're pretty much like just a sore thumb, but you're accepted. You're like, how all your 4 fingers are all lined up, but that thumb is just out there. You're the thumb of the group, You're accepted. You're a part of the hand, but you're just there. You're just that piece that just kind of brings some form of stability to the group. But the thing is at the end of the day, you're just a thumb. Now, usually these thumbs can be used for like designated driver. And let me tell you, do not get into that. Do not get sure. You might mean, well, yeah, I want you to get home safe, blah blah blah, and you take these people home, blah blah blah. Let me tell you, the hand only has 5 fingers. There's a reason for that. But these people, the people that escape, they get a lot of friends that have that escape as well. So, oh yeah, he's a DD. Yeah, he gives us drives all the time. Well, guess what? You're going to be getting portions of their friends that escape coming to you because, hey, you're known as Mr. DD, blah, 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 blah. So you're going to be driving them all back and forth, back and forth. No, you're being used. You're being used. Your company is meaningless. Because the thing is, you don't escape. You don't partake in the stuff that they partake. If you were to just disperse. Now, the only thing that they're going to do, they might text you if they've got some kind of contact with you. They try to text you or something. Hey, are you downtown? I need a ride. But the thing is sometimes they won't say that they need a ride. They'll just ask if you're downtown, and act buddy with you. And then at the end they say, yeah, I need a ride. But those people are just bad company. Like you are just a thumb on a hand in those type of situations. Now there are people who like they try to get close to people that escape. But the thing is when you try to get close with people that escape, and say you don't escape. But you have interest in this person that does escape, okay? Well, the thing is in the beginning when it starts to, formulate, if you will, pay attention. Because if that person is really in, they're going to be drinking a hell of a lot more just to talk to you. I remember when I saw this, and the thing is like this was something that it was so hard for me to let go. I mean, it was hard. Luckily, I had my caseworker with me. My caseworker did not go downtown. We do not get that mixed up. I had my caseworker helping me out with these scenarios when I would go visit the facility and just tell her what happened. Because that's the thing. I had to tell her what happened. Now, she done told me, she done tried to, tell me, don't hang out with these people. Don't hang out with those people. Don't hang out. Don't. But the thing is I kept defending. And eventually she just, all right, we'll just let it play out. And you'll just naturally leave when the course is done. Because when the course is done, well, guess what? You end up getting hurt. Now I went back to my caseworker, this happened and blah, blah, blah. You were so right, blah, 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 blah. You can't talk logic to someone who is ill-experienced. You try to talk logic to someone who is ill-experienced and someone who has been sheltered, they're not going to listen because they're literally getting they're literally getting company that they never had, But yeah, the thing is like, every time this person would be around me, like because me, I'm very emotional, very, very emotional. And, but they loved that about me. But the thing is they couldn't really talk. Like they would listen to me like, oh, and they were a really great listener. I tell you that, really great listener. But man, there were some times where when they would get emotional, and they wanted to get emotional, and they wanted to have those emotional conversations, but they wanted them to have a say, They wanted to say some things. Let me tell you, man, the drinking just gets horrendous with them. And, the thing is, I fell for the person. So I wasn't even paying attention to any of that. But it's when I look back on it, I was like, holy crap, I was enabling, You can't get involved because what you're doing is you're getting a liability. And honestly, that's one of the things I'm so thankful for because, man, that stuff could have got turned into something eventually if I would have just continued. If I didn't have my caseworker, I would have continued and continued and continued and continued of, because one thing about it, it's a lot of manipulation, a lot of ghosting, a lot of this, a lot of that, a lot of this, because literally you are a blatant example of what they got to work on. When you try to bring those two together, it's two individuals that just can't be. You can't be, but some people are stubborn and they will stay around, deal with the narcissism, deal with the ghosting, deal with this. There's a reason why you're being ghosted. There's a reason. Because you are incompatible. You don't escape. That person escapes. You cannot. This will not work, But yeah, I remember that, man. And just looking back at it, I was like, man, I was such an enabler. I was an enabler, But, but I got out of it. And that's one thing I'm thankful for. I'm so thankful for that. Because the thing is with you being a person not escaping and them being someone that does escape, they have their different ways of showing that they love you. But the thing is it's warped. It's warped. It's not meaningful. For example, I'm so sorry I hurt you. And because, if they're escaping, sometimes when they meet up with you and stuff, and they're hanging out with you, they might have had more to drink than usual, and stuff may have went different, and maybe they were just not feeling it, and every time they were around you they were just bad company, and they felt that because they just couldn't get in the groove that you were on. You're busy existing, they're busy escaping. So that's usually when the apologies start coming in, the overly apologetic stuff. I'm so sorry I did this. I'm sorry I did that. You play it cool. You're like, oh, that's okay. That's okay. Oh, no, you're fine. I love your company. I love your company. Blah, 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 blah. But the thing is, this is where it gets, the way they apologize, the way they do that, it's to make up for, they're escaping, and that's basically what it always will be surrounded by. They're escaping. Because the escaping is what causes detrimental harm to a relationship even forming, It's already bad enough that you don't escape and they do. That's already incompatible in itself. But that you are willing to try to fight any incapability, any incompatibility, that you're willing to fight through that, this is only going to make dysfunction. And the thing is the rewarding process with someone who is addicted to escaping, it's far different from someone who is logically thinking the whole time, okay? Someone who is soberly thinking all the time. So then, the thing is it could end up getting to a point to where there's a kid involved. You know what? I want to make this serious. I'm so sorry for all the bad times I did to you. Let's have a baby and make it serious. And the thing is some people give into that stuff. And then, well, guess what? Now you got a liability and you got an innocent life in the mix. That's one reason why I'm so thankful. I'm just thankful that I got out. Thankful I got out. And the thing is they called it off. They said, listen, this has been going on. I can't do this no more. But the thing is it was a manipulation tactic. And the thing is if I didn't take that to heart and go get healed from my caseworker, and my caseworker, helping me out with everything, if I didn't do that, the process has already been set. Because that's one thing about it. If you're not escaping and they're escaping, there's going to be several different times where they just they have to call it off. They need a break from you. This isn't working because it's not working. It's not working. You guys are two different individuals. They escape. You don't escape. So freaking different. But you know. But one thing I will tell you though is when you get out of that lifestyle, when you get out of it all, when you get out and say you go on to, the healthier things, the healthier environments, you're going to notice a lot that, that was easily obtained, there in those areas. It's not there in the sober world. The reason why is people in the mode of escaping, they're emotional. They're depressing themselves. That's what alcohol does. And whatever other drugs are in the mix or whatever, they're harming themselves to get to a point to where they can feel. So yeah, they may be clingy, they may be all huggy and lovey-dovey and all that other stuff and blah, 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 blah. But in the sober world, the real world, you don't get any of that. You don't get any of that emotion. You don't get any of that. Because literally, it's just people trying to find themselves and find their purpose. And the thing is a lot of people that are in these healthy environments, on the weekends, they're escaping everything. They're going right back down there. They're escaping. So when they come back, they're even more farther off. See, and that's one thing that people refuse to, look at. You spend all week progressing, but then you use the weekend, Friday and Saturday, to go escape. And the thing is every time you escape, you're just doing a little bit more, you're doing a little bit more, you're doing a little bit more. So when you come back to a healthier lifestyle on Monday, because, Sunday is your recovery day, well, the thing is you're even farther off. You pushed yourself back even farther. So there's always going to be that desensitized part of the healthy part of life. Because I will easily tell you this. I will say it. It is so much harder to get any form of affection in the healthy platform of life than it was downtown when I was hanging out with those people and everything. So much harder. Because all I could do was just go downtown, just say, hello, I'm here just to say hi, guys, blah, blah, blah. Oh, it would be so great. It would be so great. It would be like I never left. But the thing is, getting in a healthy lifestyle, it's different. Because people don't know how to express their emotions soberly. They don't know how to express their emotions logically. So it's a whole different ball game. It may be short to the point. It may be very minimal. But that's just something that you just got to deal with. Because you're in the process of the soulmate to come. Now, if you already got married and stuff and all that stuff, well, you're stuck. The thing is what you're going to be finding is eventually, if you're on the healthy platform of life and you are still in you are still in a very dysfunctional marriage and stuff, well, I have my own things on this too. You're going to meet that soulmate. You're going to meet that person that you could have been with. But the thing is, you already taken. You done settled. You settled a long time ago. That's why when I hear people settling in their 20s, I'm like, huh? Those are building grounds. What are you settling for? You still got a long dang life ahead of you. You can live to be 100. You done settled at 20? In the most dysfunctional time period of your life? Ah, man. But the thing is they'll cross the the person that would have been their soulmate. They'll cross them, and they'll find that person had all the traits that they wanted in someone, because it's stuff that they can relate to on a whole lot. Thing is, you're taken, and the thing is that person knows you're taken, and the thing is you might even just get a glimpse at that person. You know, they might be the thing is they're going to be temporary in your life, but you're going to be put in front of it. You're going to be put in front of it, because you know what life is telling you then? What you were looking for in a person did exist. It did exist, but you neglected the building process, and you settled for comfort, and you got your comfort. But the thing is when you take in so much comfort, it gets bland, it gets dull, it gets meaningless, it gets empty, it gets void. But you're stuck. You're stuck. And what's keeping you together? Probably kids. Because if you didn't have kids, you would have probably divorced a long time ago. But yeah, you're in the building grounds in the healthy platform of life. That's why you don't get that affection. You don't get that emotion. You don't get that. Because the thing is your soulmate is the one that is supposed to provide that stuff. Now you'll get love in different forms. You'll get what real love is in the healthy environment. But love is infinite. Love goes on forever and ever and ever. So there are tons and tons of categories. And if you have dabbled in the other side of life, I'm talking about the depths, you know everything that is incorrect of the incorrect definition of love and emotions and all that stuff. But on the healthy platform of life, you're trying to discover it. And the thing is the more work you put into building yourself and your overall development, you will get, well, here's this portion of love. Now, when you identify that, well, then another one will come. Well, this is this portion of love. And then, well, now you got that. Once you identify and acknowledge it, okay, you grab it. And it'll just keep going and going and going and going and going. You will start to, find different forms of love that you've never been revealed to. And it's an experience. But it's an experience that needs to be cherished. Because because in the midst of this building process, what love is doing is it's accumulating all these different variations of love that you are being put in front of, and it's gathering it all like data. And once it is complete, well, then your soulmate is just to be right around the corner. It's going to happen at a very unexpected time. They might not even look at what you think they may look like, because I will tell you this one thing about the depths, the downtown area, the escape, is we think attraction is body and how they look. Attraction. The thing is that's all lust. That all goes from the ideology of pornography and sex, and all that stuff goes down to escaping. And but when it comes to soulmate, it doesn't matter what they look like. Don't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is they have everything that you are always looking for. And I will tell you this, body, that imagery of what used to be your kink or fetish or your turn on, it's not going to be that. It's not going to be that at all. It's not going to be that at all. It's going to be something far different from what you could even imagine. That's the thing. When you're in the healthy platform of life, you don't know, because literally every single person was raised in toxicity. We only are familiar with let's say 30 years, because I'm 30 years. We are only familiar with 30 years worth of toxicity, you know? We don't know what the healthy side of let's break it down to where I can use that part. So let's say 25 years of toxicity. 25 years of toxicity. But you have 5 years invested in the healthy platform of life. That's 5 years. 5 years out of 25 years that was invested in toxicity. You have more knowledge and more understanding with a toxic way of life, but when it comes to a healthy way of life, you're like a kid. You're 5 years old. You're starting over. See, that's why, I got this theory on why human life is so long. It's because we're corrupt. We take value away from life, and we affect so many innocent people in the making. We affect them at childhood in their most crucial time frame. 5 years invested in a healthy platform of life, you're not even close, because love is infinite. It's infinite. It's continuous. There's so many breakdowns. It's like a division problem, but it's a division problem where the number is so long that it's just continuously breaking down. We don't even live long enough to even, gather even a majority of what the heck it is. But the thing is, 25 years, say you invest 5 years in healthy platform of life, 25 years you were messed up, 25 whole freaking years knocked out of your life, messed up, corrupted, incorrect. You've been messed up for 25 years, but you got 5 years of learning new. And that's how you got to look at it. You got to be okay. You're like a 5-year-old child. Like a 5-year-old child, though. You've been reborn. You've been born again. Now live the rest of your life. But see, we can live up to 100 years old, but we corrupt and we stunt so many living individuals in their childhood that what is developed in their childhood, majority end up living that their whole life. They normalize it for the future youth to even come. So the thing is there's generational curse after generational curse after generational curse. That's just being dropped off every single year, every single generation, just being dropped off. Which is why that we have such a long time frame of, living. Because we still got so much to frickin' learn. We got so much to learn. The thing is we don't get the full experience of what we could have. Because, being able to live up to 100 years old, say that 5 years that you've invested in a healthy platform of life. Can you imagine if this all happened when you were a kid? As you're a kid, you got till 18 till you're an adult. Can you imagine 18 years invested in a healthy platform of life? Oh, it would be a game changer. I don't even know what it would be like. But I can already tell you this, that would be magnificent. Because guess what? You still got an even longer life ahead of you. Because you're only 18. If you think this is just the end of it, no, you're not even close. The thing is every single day is new. Every single day is different. Every single day you are provided with opportunity. If you think that your life is the same thing every single day, you're not paying attention. You're not paying close enough attention. You need to observe more. But anyway, this has been the breakdown. by yours truly, 00HOCWWID. And yeah,